Hey there and welcome to the UkeStuff channel. Today we're looking at the Cordoba UP-1S Soprano Ukulele that comes as a part of their starter pack ukulele. Now, for the record, I didn't buy this one. It wasn't sent to me for review. A student, actually their family, bought this for one of my students and asked me to take a look at it, and while it's here, I thought I would do a review of it. So, in summary, this is Cordoba's, I think, new entry-line product that they sell. This is the base price to get into an ukulele that says Cordoba on it. The full pack sells for $69. I think normally it goes for $79, but I'm seeing prices right now of $69, and that includes a bag, a tuner, you get some extra strings, and then a little booklet. Oh, I think also they throw in some picks, which are going to be guitar picks, and you're not going to use them anyway, so that's what you get with that starter price for $69. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, I reviewed this ukulele, which I have since addressed some issues with. This is a protege made by Cordoba, and this is the Cordoba entry model, and I think this model replaced this. Not 100% sure about that, but I will do a different comparison video between these two instruments that are, for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same, except I'll give you a hint, this one's just yet a little better. So in these reviews, what I do is, first of all, I look at the subjective issues of the instrument, then I look at the objective issues, and then I do a summary statement of the instrument. So let's begin. I've already talked about the price. It sells for $69 along with that kit of things. In terms of value, that becomes a pretty good value because you get some extra things with it at a lower price point than even Cordoba's other instrument. So I think the value is good. It's definitely better than getting your money's worth. It's a little bit better. It's not a home run in terms of value. You're not going to feel like you just got the bargain of a lifetime, but I think it's good enough that you'll be content with it. The build quality on this is really quite good. On the outside, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's built nicely. All the edges are together. There's no scruffiness on the outside. The fretboard looks good. In general, it's just really well built. And then it even looks good on the inside. Let's take a look at that right now with the internal Uke Cam. All right, let's take a look inside this Cordoba. Here we go, going in. So, as you can see on the back, a little bit of glue here and there, but you can see the notch kerfing. You can see the sides of the laminate mahogany throughout. That's all really cool. Now, I need to back up a little bit and let you see up here. You can see the center brace that goes from behind the bridge plate, and there's the bridge plate. And again, those two little markers with the bridge. And incidentally, my friend Steve from Steve Strings mentions that he thinks those things that are sticking out, we saw the same thing with the protege, are bridge position sort of markers or position pins that you can help put the bridge in the correct place. So overall, pretty clean in here. It's definitely cleaner than the protege, which is also made by Cordoba. And let's take a look at the top half of the ukulele. All right, here we go. Again, it's the Cordoba UP-1S. And we don't have a whole lot of room to look in here. It's a soprano, but there's your sides and your kerfing. Up here is your neck block right there. Your Cordoba serial number, made in China, but also hecho a mano, made by hand. And that's it. So really pretty overall clean, and I think a better construction than the protege made by Cordoba that we just recently looked at on this channel. Now, as you can see, looks pretty good on the inside too. So overall, I think the construction is done very well here. In terms of appearance, it's a plain looking starter ukulele. Some people are going to be complaining about the fact that it's not fancy, but I think there is something nice about a basic looking ukulele as a starter. And this, you're not going to get any more basic than laminate mahogany. Well, it's really well book matched, but you do get that an etched rosette in there on the soundboard. And other than that, there's really nothing other than the Cordoba, which is a decal, and I don't know if you can pick it off, and I don't want to pick it off because it's a student's instrument either. So I'm not sure that's covered under a lacquer or not. That's my only complaint ever with ukuleles, is ones that you can scratch off the label. And by the way, Martin even does it with their S1 Soprano that costs $400 in the store. So keeping that in mind, I think it really does look good, but it is plain. In terms of availability, you can order one of these right now from Amazon or a number of dealers. It also is available at a lot of the really large music stores. Cordoba has some connections with those really big music store names, and that's where you can get these too. In terms of playability, just like its sister, or whatever you want to think of it, or brother, however you want to think of that other instrument, it is overall very playable, but the issues that the Protege had, this one did not. Fret ends are perfectly smooth. There's no scruffiness at all in playing it. It's really nice. Now, if you have super large hands, the nut is a little wider than average, so instead of being a pure 35 millimeter, it's inching towards 36. String spacing is pretty generous for a soprano at around 9 millimeters between the strings at the first fret, but some people with giant hands may find this uncomfortable, but I think most people find it very, very playable. It also has a thinner neck profile. It is your traditional import C neck, but it's really comfortable to hold. In terms of sound quality, it's a good sound quality. It's got resonance. It's a laminate sound. This is not a solid wood sound, so keep that in mind. I'm not saying that this is going to sound like a Koaloha that's made out of koa. No, I'm not saying that. But I will say is it sounds nice for a starter ukulele. There's no complaints there. It's going to play in tune because it's set up well, and I'm really nicely impressed. By the way, the Protege also sounded quite good. The laminate is pretty thin, making it a very resonant body, so that's all very nice, and it's not heavily overbraced on the inside. It's not soft. It's relatively loud. The one side is it does have, again, just like the Protege, it is kind of more mid-low balanced. Sometimes it sounds more like a concert than it does a soprano because it's missing that sparkle on the top, that last zing. And I do think that different strings might help you with that. So I think the sound quality is excellent. I think it's louder than it's quieter, and I think it's a little more towards dark than it is bright, but it still is pretty balanced. And I thought the Protege was overall pretty good sounding ukulele too, especially as an entry-level laminate. Now let's talk about the objective data. These are the data points that are just what to know about the instrument. It is a soprano instrument. The scale length is a little larger than a lot of sopranos at 13.75 inches between the nut to the saddle. There are 16 frets, and not only does it have front markers, but it also has markers on the side. The body is your very traditional double bout body. The soundboard is laminate mahogany. The sides and backs are laminate mahogany. I don't know what the neck is. It's either mahogany or another similar hardwood with that. The fretboard is rosewood, as is the bridge. The bridge is also a tie bar bridge, just like the Protege. It does not have a radius fretboard, and the nut and saddle are both made out of a plastic composite. So both of those are a composite saddle and nut. The saddle is not compensated, it just is straight across. It's a satin finish. Its overall length is 21.25 inches, which is slightly longer than what they say it is online, and it weighs 13.3 ounces. The tuners are open geared tuners. They're not branded Cordoba or anything. They're just open geared generic. And here's where this instrument really excels. In addition to having perfectly smooth fret ends, the action at the first fret is less than 0.5 millimeters, and the action at the 12th fret is 2.25 millimeters. That's pretty low. My only fear is if this gets dried out, does the neck warp at all and making that actually too low? That's something you'll just have to see over time. The nut width is a little larger than average, 35.78 millimeters, and the spacing at the first fret is 8.91 millimeters between each of those strings at the first fret, making it 29.57 millimeters from G to A. So as sopranos goes, that's a little wider than average, with a depth of 20.52 millimeters at the third fret. Again, I judge from the top of the strings to the bottom of the neck to give you an idea of what the reach is like. So, in closing about this instrument, I think it is really well done. It was a good purchase on the part of the parent. I had some reservations with the protege. This one I don't have many reservations at all. It's set up well. It's built well. It sounds good. And the only real negative for this instrument, truly, well, there's a couple. Number one is the bag that it comes with is a drawstring bag, like one of those, athletic drawstring bags. You're going to want a different bag. Second, different strings might make this better. And third, at this price point, there's a lot of competition of a lot of different ukuleles, and you're going to have some tough choices to make if you're looking at that price point. Really, those are really minor complaints, and the $10 to $20 difference from other entry-level ukuleles really would be negligible in the lifetime of an instrument. So with it, how would I rate it? I would give this ukulele a solid 4 out of 5 ukuleles in my own rating scale. It's definitely recommended, something that you should look at and keep it in mind. So that is the Cordoba UP-1S Soprano Ukulele that comes as part of their player pack. So thanks for watching, and I will be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.